Who needs the least amount of reps to get ready for an upcoming NFL season? Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. Funny, how come those guys are the guys that are getting all the reps right now, and those guys are all going to play in the preseason? Aaron Rodgers says he's playing in the first exhibition game, so is Tom Brady. So if Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are playing in the first exhibition game and Jalen Hurts isn't, that's all I need to know about the organization. They got a soft mentality in how they prepare for an upcoming season. It's soft and it's unprepared. I heard Barrett saying, well, they run around in shorts and they know what they're doing. Great, they should in their second year. So let me get into all the great hype that's going on around Eagle Camp. Jason Kelce. Hey, man, this Jordan Davis kid. Unbelievable. By the way, they do more hitting at the White Castle than what the Eagles do in training camp. I'm going to make a prediction to you again. You're going to be 2-4 going into the bye because you're not practicing hard enough. You don't have Tom Brady and that luxury to have an experienced quarterback weather you through not practicing. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, they don't need massive reps. Jalen Hurts needs a ton of them. You're putting the Eagles in the same category as Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and the rest of these guys. I heard the guys talking on Sports Take going like this. And it was Barrett. Barrett's like, hey, man, I'll tell you what. Seeing A.J. Brown and Devontae run routes, hey, that sounds great and all. But if you don't have the signal caller to get him the ball, how are you going to get into a rhythm with your guys when your reps are not quality reps? Playing pitch and catch like you do with your dad and your kid is not going to be quality reps to get you ready for an upcoming NFL season, let alone an exhibition game, which they're not playing in. You got to be kidding me, man. And by the way, I'm saying a 2-4 start, not because I think there's lack of talent on the team. It's because it's lack of preparation. They would rather be less prepared and healthier going into an NFL season. How do you constitute that and how do you justify that when you've got a quarterback, in my opinion, that needs all the reps? Of all the quarterbacks, watch this. Of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, who needs the least amount of reps to get ready for an upcoming NFL season? Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. Funny, how come those guys are the guys that are getting all the reps right now, and those guys are all going to play in the preseason? Aaron Rodgers says he's playing in the first exhibition game, so is Tom Brady. So if Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are playing in the first exhibition game and Jalen Hurts isn't, that's all I need to know about the organization. They got a soft mentality in how they prepare for an upcoming season. It's soft and it's unprepared. I heard Barrett saying, well, they run around in shorts and they know what they're doing. Great, they should in their second year. When you got everything mapped out, we're going to do this drill here, we're going to do this drill here, you should know in your second year what the coach wants you to do when it comes to a fall practice, okay? I mean, welcome to the NFL. Those are not – how do you know when you're finishing off a player and you're an O-line? How do you know when you're a defensive linebacker and you're doing a stunt and you got to have fits on blitzes at half speed and shorts? Jacob, hey, think about this for a second. Nakobe Dean, when you're running an Eagle defense, how do you know what it is on a fit when you're running a twist stunt in the middle between Hargrave and Fletcher Cox and you're doing it half speed? How do you common sense? When you're blocking and you're finishing off a defensive lineman, you're doing it half speed and you're not continuing to move your feet. So what happens when you get into a football game? By the way, do I think they could pick it up like they did a year ago? Probably. They showed it a year ago where they got better after week 7. Okay? So get ready. Your football team will be pretty good in week 7. It's not going to be – you're going to struggle against the Lions, in my opinion. And not because of talent, but because you're not prepared. You think Dan Campbell's going about it with that soft-ass approach? You got a soft-ass mentality on defense. And on the other side of it, you're not practicing hard enough offensively, and you're not giving your quarterback the reps he needs. You want me to – I'm going to tell you the quarterbacks that I think need a lot of reps in the offseason and in the preseason here. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield down with Carolina now, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock in Seattle. All those quarterbacks need reps. And you got the Eagles going, well, we're just going to get them into the regular season. I find that approach to be absolutely soft. David Mills, Tua, all of those guys need reps. You absolutely, those guys need reps. Josh Allen fighting in practice. Yeah, because you know why? That Kansas City game left a horrible taste in his mouth, and he wants everybody to know in Bill's camp, we're not going to take a soft approach on anything. We're going to be mentally and physically prepared for the start of the NFL season because we're going to go out and kick someone's ass. If my quarterback, like Josh Allen, is getting into a fight, I'm motivated. I'm motivated because the star of the team has a bad taste in his mouth. How don't you have a bad taste in your mouth after getting your faces and your ass kicked by the Bucs and thinking you're just going to meander into the NFL season? If you got beat in a fist fight, okay, and you got your ass kicked on national television, how does that not leave a bad taste in your mouth and you're angry going into camp? If I were the Eagle guys, screw that mentality of how iron leads to iron, whatever the stupid comment that he made today, Sirianni. How don't you have a mentality getting ready to go into the NFL season where you want to pick up where you didn't leave off, where you got your ass kicked? You got your ass kicked and you were embarrassed. And you're like, oh, you know, we're not going to play anybody. And we're going to be in helmets and shorts most of the time. And we're only going to practice for an hour and 10 minutes. That's soft. That's soft. Josh is overrated. Yeah, okay. Still sweating like secretary coming down the stretch, fired up. Sills genuinely hates the Eagles. That's because you hear what you want to hear, Dominique. You hear what you want to hear. You think I'm going to be a cheerleader for any team, including my Canes, including the team I played for, the Bucks? Wrong guy, dog. That's not how I approach things. I come from it from an angle of there's a sense of urgency. You're only gauged on your last game you played. You're only remembered by the last game you played, not by what you think you're going to do. That's a weak-ass mentality. You ain't got to be a cheerleader to not hate my guy. I don't hate anybody. I told you I hate Nazis. I don't hate anybody. Who said they wasn't playing in the preseason? The Eagles. The Eagles. Edward, I don't think it's scared. I just think it's a fundamentally flawed approach to how you prepare for a season. I don't think the Eagles are scared. If that's coming off like that and it's landing like that, Edward, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Absolutely not. Okay? I'm not saying they're scared. I'm saying that they believe that that's an approach because they're looking at this as the war of attrition. There's a part of me that agrees with it. But that means this too. You're more afraid of getting hurt than being prepared. What would you rather be? What would you rather have? Would you rather be prepared going into anything you do in life? Or would you rather not be prepared going into something that you have to do? I just don't understand that philosophy. No, man, it's water. I took a shower, you guys. Absolutely not. I took a shower. I got to take a shower for you guys. Personally, I don't think people understand what the old NFL was about. Brian, it's not so much the old NFL. It's just there's a different. Now, look, I get what they're doing here, too. They're doing it this way. Look, well, because we have a lot of OTAs and we have a lot of mini camps and we have a lot of, unorganized team activities where players get together and such and they do all those kind of things. I get it. I understand. Okay? So they're looking at it that way. Years past, you could show up to training camp and you could be fat and out of shape because you got 3 months to get into shape. Okay? But dude, man, you got to go into training camp thinking you have no job and you have to win it every year. Seals, this has to be a management decision. It is. Booza, it's a decision that I'm just not a fan of. Lions ended their first practice with media access with a team brawl. That's great. That's great. Seals, how long would an NFL player of today's generation last in a real camp in the 80s? Dude, there were 3 days. My first day in camp was this. We had depending on where you were, if you were Jimmy Johnson, you did your 16 110s. Then what you did was, after you did your conditioning drill, for the Buccaneers and Ray Perkins, I had to run 1.5 miles in 12 minutes. Okay? And I made it. And you had to do that. And then what you had was, that was in the morning session. Then you came back for later on with helmets and shorts. And you had that is the only day you had with helmets and shorts. Then the rest of it, every day, 3 hours, you had 2 days. Sometimes Ray would have 3 days. We'd come back in the middle and get this. We wouldn't even leave the field. You want to hear how crazy it was with Ray Perkins, my coach? We would have our morning session. Then the morning session would turn into this. He would say a third practice meant that we had a noon practice in Tampa. We would sit under with fans, with ice, under the tents, take our pads off, and we would go to sleep there. We'd get up in about an hour, put our pads on, go on the field, and we practice for 2 hours. Then we would leave, and we would go, and then we'd have a bite to eat. 45 minutes sleep, come back and you have a 7:30 practice later on or a 6:30 practice at Pepin Root Stadium. That went on for 3 months. The 3 days didn't go on for 3 months like that. They went on for probably around 2.5 weeks, 3 days of hitting. Dude, you couldn't lift your arms by the end of the week. You couldn't lift them. Now, do I think that's excessive? I do. Do I think that's over the line? I do. The freaky practices and in the Florida heat. The best football I ever witnessed was the 80s and 90s. Brian, even in the 70s, they weren't the athletes that they have today. Okay? But you kept the team together and everybody practiced their ass off and they had all great technique. The athletes are clearly better today. Guys like Michael Parsons are freak shows. But what you had in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, these guys practiced technique every day, every single day for 3 hours, sometimes 3 practices a day. You can't help but think you're doing something for 9 hours a day, that you're going to get better at it. Think about something that we're talking about with Jalen Hurts here for a second. So I practice for 9 hours a day. Jalen Hurts practices for 1.5 hours. How is he getting better? How is that guy getting better with an hour and a half of practice and helmets and shorts? And I'm going 9 hours in full gear. How? How are you getting better? The laws of common sense don't tell me you're getting better. You're telling me you think that quarterback with an hour of practice a day is getting better from what we saw in that playoff game against the Bucs. I don't get it. I don't know where people are coming up with, hey, these are good reps. He looks good in practice. How do you know? And don't tell me those organized team scrimmages, too, are going to tell us anything. They're not. They're not quality reps. They're better than the reps of helmets and shorts, but you won't know until you get into the first game against the Lions. Just saying. By the way, we're going to take a look at one of the teams on the Eagles schedule. You play the Bears in Week 15. I really haven't written much down about the Chicago Bears because I think that organization is not going anywhere really. So, I mean, Justin Fields, as you guys know, from the first day I got on this network, I don't really think much of him. So, also, let me go into this. Uptown says it's a league. It's a league thing. It is, Upton. That's why I think you see lower extremity injuries early on in the year. Almost all these teams aren't prepared. Oh, completely. Uptown, I don't think that's isolated. Hey, if I'm coming off like that's isolated to the Eagles, now some teams like New England and Seattle, and I believe the Buccaneers too, those teams practice hard. Those teams get after it. Those teams usually get fined in camp because they're getting after it too much, and they break collective bargaining agreement rules, and that's why you see some fines. I think Dan Campbell, too, is going to be in that conversation where you're talking about a guy who exceeds what the collective bargaining agreement is when it comes to contact. I'm going to tell you this, man. That Lions team is going to be ready for the Eagles in Week 1. And the Eagles are not going to be ready. They're going to be better. Here's what's going to happen. You know why that game is going to – I know you guys think it's a 30-point difference. You know why it won't be? The Eagles are more talented, but the Lions are going to be more prepared. That's why that game will be close. Talent-wise, it's not close. You're right. Talent-wise, it's not close, but it'll be close because you practice not very hard. And your quarterback's not going to be prepared. Throwing in helmets and shorts and playing pitch and catch for 4 days in camp, you accomplish nothing. What the Philadelphia Eagles have done with Jalen Hurts for these 4 days have accomplished nothing. There's no hitting. There's no contact. There's no fighting for separation. There's none of that. None of that. And as a matter of fact, A.J. Brown versus Darius Slay, those two guys can make themselves better. They can make themselves better if you're being physical with one another. By the way, A.J. Brown, he talks a lot, doesn't he? I'm paraphrasing here. Guys barking still about being dumped by the Titans. Who gives a shit, guy? You got your money. Shut up and worry about being an Eagle. Shut the hell up. I'm the only guy that got traded? I don't know. I think Tyreek Hill got traded too. Or did you miss that one? He's saying that all these other guys got their money and they weren't traded. I don't know. Tyreek Hill's sitting in Miami now. He's no longer in Kansas City. That must have went by the wayside because he's talking about Debo getting basically the same type of money that he got. Well, the difference there also is this. You're not a focal point in Tennessee. A.J. Brown was not a focal point in Tennessee. It's the quarterback and the running back, and probably reversed. It's Derrick Henry and the quarterback. A.J. Brown tried to put himself in that he was a focal point in that offense. He wasn't. He wasn't the focal point. It's that movable refrigerator known as Derrick Henry. He's the guy who's the focal point there, not A.J. Brown, but he sure talks a lot of shit, doesn't he? I don't mind it. He's a star. Hey, by the way, I don't want it to land that I don't think he's a star player. I do think he's a star player, but he talks a lot of shit. And my problem with him is this. You know, I heard Rob talking about Jalen Reagor worrying about what some media guy tweeted. Who cares about Jalen Reagor? Jalen Reagor is fighting for a lifeline in Eagle Camp. He's fighting for a lifeline. Who cares about that guy? A.J. Brown's still talking about the Titans and being butthurt over the fact that they didn't want to give him the money that he wanted. And he's still barking here on August 1st. Bro, get over it. You're making $25 million a year. Who gives a shit what Mike Vrabel and John Robinson thinks about you? Who cares? You're an Eagle guy. Who cares? This guy's all crying about, well, the Titans, they moved. Dude, it's August 1. Stop crying. Dude, if I had $25 million in my pocket and the Philadelphia Eagles gave me and said, hey, you're going to be our number one guy, and you weren't the number one guy in Tennessee, we all know who that is. That's 22. And you're still moaning about it? I question that guy. Seriously, even Xander's looking at it. Guy's a snowflake. Well, everyone else didn't get traded. I did. Man, if you gave me a bag of money and put it in my pocket, and I'm one of the highest paid guys in the NFL, you think I'm giving a shit about my former employer? Dude, I wouldn't give you the time of day if you put that kind of change in my pocket. That guy cares more. Hey, he cares just as much what people say about him as Jalen Reagor does. Remember I said that. Jalen Reagor's worried about what some dude in Philly's talking about him, dropping passes, whatever. Who cares? A.J. Brown is worried about what's going on in Tennessee camp. Jalen Reagor, get this, Jalen Reagor at least is angry at a Philadelphia reporter. A.J. Brown is concerned what's going on in Titans camp. Dude, grow up a bit. I'm starting to have second thoughts on this guy. Bro, that's not how a mentality of a star player acts. I don't hear Brady throwing shit at New England or any of those superstar guys. Hey, by the way, you know what I hear Russell Wilson talking about? Hey, man, that early game against Seattle, they got a great team. And, they got great people there. And I'm so looking forward to playing against them. And it'll be a very tough game. That's how you answer shit like that. Not, well, I don't know why I got traded by Tennessee. What a baby. Brown has proven 62 catches, 998 yards in 3 years as an average is not proven to me. Not proven. Nicky's playing chess. He can't come right in challenging Howie. Hey, come on, man. John says, very white of you to say that. I'm Italian, dickhead. Okay? Not white. I hate that comment. It drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. I hate that. Okay? Stop crying, dog, about the Titans. Stop it. You got a bag of money. You guys okay with that? You guys all right with that? Him crying about being, okay, not there in Tennessee still? Dude, I think he's heartbroken. I think he's heartbroken that the Titans passed on him and said, go ahead, you know what? We don't really need you. I think he's insulted. They didn't want to pay him, and they moved him. And the Titans got first-round draft choices for him. Dominique, I'm Italian. Who do you even like on the Eagles? Here, great question, plug. I love Jason Kelce. I love Jordan Mailata. Love Jordan Mailata. Defensively, yet to be proven yet on defense. I don't really love anybody on the Eagle defense. Okay, I like a lot of guys, but I wouldn't say I love anybody on that defense. Maybe Milton Williams, because he's battling. And he's going to prove that he's going to be a versatile player in that front seven. Maybe it may be him I like. Okay, maybe. I'm loving this kid, Landon Dickerson, too. And you know what? Devontae Smith, I won't lie. Love him. I love his work ethic. I love the city he's from. I love the family that represents him and he represents. I love the community. When he got the Heisman Trophy, that whole community was absolutely in love with Devontae Smith when Devontae Smith won that Heisman. That was really awesome. Okay? Hey, Xander, right? When that kid won that Heisman, that whole community was like behind him, was rooting him on, was cheering him on. Remember something, that year when he won the Heisman, Jalen Waddle was the number one dude. Then he ends up going down. He picks up the baton, and he ends up running through the Heisman Trophy finish line. I love that kid. I do. I love that kid. I just think he's on the wrong team because he doesn't have the quarterback to make him a 1,200-yard guy. AJ, I love Slay too, man. Darius Slay coming over from Detroit and up in his game. I like him, man. Okay? One above all says, now we love Landon. Well, dude, I loved Landon even when I was trying to move him because I thought he was a first-round talent then when I said that they should move him to the Bengals and get a first-round draft choice for him. Yeah. If I think you're a first-round draft choice, that means I like you. Yeah, hey, Booza, I would say Slay. Seals, you look like you aged 10 years over the weekend. You suck. The show's okay. Maybe that's because my daughter had her 21st birthday here. Whew. Oof. We had to block the girls in and everything else crazy. Oh man. We did a lot of hard work over the weekend. Steven, look at this guy. What an internet guy. Here's an internet assassin, Steven Jackson. Dan isn't an Eagle fan. He's an Eagle opportunist. I'm not smart enough to understand that. I'm not smart enough to understand what that angle is. You must be an angler, and I don't mean a fisherman. You must work your life in angling people because I don't know what that means. I don't think that far ahead, dude. I'm kind of like Indiana Jones. I don't think that far ahead. I don't have plans like that. That's not who I am. Greg, Dan, don't take it personal. AJ, it's just a business decision, brother. I believe we'll get the last. Hey, yeah, but man, let those people wallow in what they did. Ty, thank you, man. Ty, I'm the worst liar. You'll see that. I'll try to. You guys know what I'm trying to BS you or mislead you. Or not mislead you, but lead you down a path. Come on, Sileo, you're leading the witness. You'll get it. If you're new to it, man, you know how I work. Oh, Carson, Internet Assassins. You should see him on my Twitter page. Hey, I'll get back to the Eagles here in a minute. So get this. I said this to Charger fans. So the NFL was right in moving the Chargers to Los Angeles. When they moved away from San Diego in 2016, the team was worth $2 billion. Today, according to Forbes, teams were $3.68 billion. And you know what? Everyone in San Diego's on my ass going, well, it's not all about money. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Everything the NFL does is about money. The only people that say that stuff are people that don't have money. Hey, man, I can't believe we're already here, man. This shows you how fast this thing is rolling in. And here we are on a football Monday. I want to get to the Bears. I want to finish up also on A.J. Brown. Don't forget Gary Cobb also in hour 2 from Fox 29. Friends, Morgan & Morgan, one of the most important decisions you will make when it comes to your family. And these folks here are the number one law firm in the entire country. The fee is free. Means this. They do not get paid unless you get your fair compensation. And for the people is not a slogan. This is who they are for the past 30 years. At Morgan & Morgan, they've collected over $13.5 billion worth of compensation for their clients. Means this: they will not be intimidated, and there's no such thing as a fender bender when you call Morgan & Morgan. 800 attorneys strong, as I said, the biggest law firm in the country with offices in Philly, New York, and in Florida. Nobody is bigger, and nobody will represent you better than what Morgan & Morgan will. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The call is free. The consultation is free. 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. And do me a favor, when you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you're hit from behind in a car crash, the insurance company may try to say, you can't possibly be hurt. It was only a few miles an hour. It's simply not true. You see, here's the thing. Getting hit at 10 miles per hour is like falling off of this. 15 miles per hour, like this. And only 25 miles per hour, this. Injured, dial pound law. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.